Okay, in this video, we're going to go through the review for 6566. So first off, you have this very nice little flow chart. So you want to make sure that you understand what this is telling you. So first off, if I give you values, which I always will, you are going to need to do a sketch if one is not provided. Okay, if you're asked to look for area, this is what you're going to use, the law of cosines version of the area. This works for any triangle. Is your shape a right triangle? If it is, then you can use SOHCAHTOA and you can use Pythagorean theorem. Otherwise, you cannot. Okay, if your triangle is oblique, that means not a right triangle. If they give you side angle angle, or angle side angle, that means that you're going to use law of sines, and there are no problems with that. You will get one triangle, all will be well. However, if you're given side angle, that is your tip-off that you are working with the ambiguous case. You're going to use law of sines, but you might get 0 triangles, and you know you have that when you have an error. One triangle, or you can get 2 possible triangles. You've got to check that first angle that you get to see whether you could have its supplement to build another triangle. We're going to go over this in the review. Okay, if you don't check that, you are a donkey and you're going to lose some points. Okay, then you have 2 other scenarios. If you are given side angle side, or side, then you are going to use law of cosines to solve your triangle or solve for whatever they ask you to solve for. Okay, here is law of sines. That's going to be provided to you. Here is law of cosines. These are just 2 views. We're going to give you all 6 views. Another very important thing that I'm going to tell you is that you've got to understand how to label a triangle. So up here, let's do that. So right here, I'm going to draw a triangle. Here's a triangle. I'm going to make it an ABC. The capital letters are always your angles. Across from capital A is little a. Across from capital B is little b, and across from capital C is little c. You have no other option other than to do that. Okay, one other thing. Another consideration that you always want to have in mind. If you are looking for an angle, and you're using either of these formulas, law of sines or law of cosines, if you're looking for an angle using law of sines, you're going to say sine to the -1 of whatever the expression is to get your angle. Okay, let me see if I can put that in. Hold on. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, so I'll put it over here. When using law of sines, sine to the -1 of your expression will get you back an angle. When using law of cosines, cosine to the -1 of whatever the expression is will get you your angle. That is the only way you're going to get an angle. Okay, so just be aware of that as we start going through this material. One other thing, you have the area of a triangle formula right here. That is our sandwich scenario. So if you are going to figure out any triangle and you're going to figure out area, you need this side, and this angle. That is your sandwich. Once you have that scenario, you can then execute this formula to find the area of that triangle. I also wrote all of this out for you. This is about ambiguous case, first paragraph. I talk about you can start using law of cosines, and if you want to switch to law of sines, you can do that, but I would say be careful doing that the safest bet is to stick with law of cosines. However, if you want to switch, here's some guidance. Always use law of cosines to get the biggest angle, and then use law of sines to get the smallest angle. How will you know what's smallest and what's biggest? For example, if we had a triangle like this, and I give you 5, 7, and 11, this is your biggest angle across from the biggest side, and this is your smallest angle across from the smallest side. Okay, so now we're ready to start doing some problems. So the first problem in the packet is this one. It's a word problem. Not a problem for us because we're just going to read it and start drawing. Points A and B are located along a stone wall and are separated by 80 feet. Okay, so here's my wall. And this is A, this is B, and this is 80 feet. Let point C serve as a third point of a triangle. Okay, so I'm going to put it down here, because otherwise I'll have to draw over my writing, or my typing, and that's not going to be good. Here is C. Then I keep reading. The angle made by the stone wall and the line that runs from point A to point C measures 41 degrees. So you should know that this is 41 degrees. The angle made by the stone wall and the line that runs from point B to point C is 52 degrees. Okay? What's the area of the triangle? So I know to get area, I need to get a sandwich. I don't currently have that. So I want to get a missing side. So I think I went for this missing side. But in order to use, what do I have? In order to use what I have, I've been given angle, side, angle. Do you see angle, side, angle? If I've been given angle, side, angle, I'm going to use law of sines. First thing I'm going to do, get the missing angle. 180 minus 41 minus 52 gives you the missing angle, which is 87, and I'm going to put that here. So that's how I got angle C to be 87 degrees. Okay, I need that because I need a pair in order to use law of sines. Okay, second thing I'm going to do. Let's see if we can get missing side A. Do you agree this is missing side A because it's across from angle A? So to get that, I'm going to use the pairing I just created by getting the 87 degree angle. And I'm going to pair it over its side. And that's going to equal sine of 41 over its missing side. Okay, whenever you have this scenario, do cross products. A times the sine of 87 degrees equals 80 times the sine of 41 degrees. Divide by sine 87, divide by sine 87 to get A by itself. This goes in your calculator. Put it in all at once. Okay, you should end up getting A is 52.6. I'm going to round everything to the nearest tenth. So this is 52.6. It's a side length. It's going to be in feet, right? Because my wall was in feet. So this is feet. I have this. Now, you're not done because your whole purpose of getting that missing side was to find the area of this shape. So, next step. Area equals 1/2. It's written like this, but for our scenario, what's it going to be? It's going to be area equals 1/2 the 80, which is little side C, times the So I have little side C times little side A times the sine of B. That's how I'm writing this out. So I would not get so focused on the letters. What I would focus in on is the sandwich. See this gray circle? That's your sandwich. So what am I going to type in? I'm going to type in 1/2 piece of bread, okay, other piece of bread, sine of the angle. And after you do that, you should be getting 1657.97. And this is feet squared because it is an area value. Now you have what they asked you for, which was find the area. Here is the area. That's the answer I'm looking for. Okay, that takes us to our next problem. And we always start off by drawing the scenario. So here's my ABC triangle. So I'm going to make my A here, my B here, my C here. Little a is 25, little b is 24, and angle C is 74 degrees. What have I been given? I've been given side, angle, side. Side, angle, side tells me I have to use law of cosines. They want me to solve everything, and then after I finish solving it, they want me to compute the area of the triangle. Okay, so I have to use law of cosines. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for the missing side. So I need little side C. So I know to get C using law of cosines, it's going to be this. A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of C. In my calculator, I'm going to use the square root symbol right from the beginning and then plug in what I've been given so that when I put this in my calculator, I get the immediate answer and not the square of my answer. Okay, so that goes in my calculator and I get little side C, 29.5. Make sure that you are doing this and not just watching, because the biggest problem I always find is calculator input. Okay, I've got that side. Okay, so now what do I want to do? I am seeing that I have that side across from the C. I'm going to switch now over to law of sines because I have a pairing. I'm going to go do it on the safe side, and I'm going to pick angle B to solve for. So my next thing is to find angle B. So to find angle B, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say the sine of 74 over 29.5 equals the sine of some mystery B over 24. Okay, do your cross products. Write all of this out so that you are confident setting this up. Everyone always wants to grab the calculator and start doing things. Resist that urge. So look what I'm getting. That cancels over there. Okay, I don't want to get sine B. I want to get B. So angle B is going to equal, remember to get your angle, you're going to use inverse trig of that quotient we just wrote out. That in your calculator, and you should be getting angle B to the nearest tenth is 51.4 degrees. Okay, so I have that one now. Let me come back up here, and this is 51.4, and I am good. To get angle A, I'm going to do subtraction. So angle A is going to be 180 minus the angle I just got, minus the angle I was given, and angle A should equal 54.6 degrees. Okay, I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to put it 54.6, and I'm going to box it off. Okay, good. So I've got that. Now, remember, we're not done because we need to figure out the area. So I'm going to look for my sandwich, and I'm going to say area equals, let's see what I did. I may not get the same answer I got when I did it on the answer key, but my goal is to get a sandwich. So I need two sides and an angle. So I'm going to do 25 for my side, 24 for my other side, and then the sine of the angle in between. So let's see what I get this time. So if I say 25 times 24 times the sine of 74, and then it's also times 1/2, right? So I forgot the 1/2 to write that down, so I did that. Okay, so I'm getting, my area is 288.4. Do I have units? I don't have units, so I'm leaving it as that. So here's my area, done. Okay, so remember, sandwich, bread, jelly for the angle in between, the included angle. That's my goal. Don't stress about the letters. Just use the procedure that we've set in place. And just to highlight that for you, I used this sandwich. 25 for the bread, 24 for the other bread, and sine of the 74. Okay, so that problem is done. Let's look at my next problem. We're going to sketch it out. Here's our little triangle. Okay, I labeled my triangle X, Y, and then Z. Okay, little x is 11, little y is 18, and z is 36. That's also side angle psi with the included angle. That's a law of cosines problem. I'm going to get little side z first. So let me just put a line between these two problems. So I'm going to go here. Okay, and I'll start out with green. Okay, so I'm going to have to rewrite my equation because I don't have a z squared equals. So this is what it's going to be. So the first thing I want to find is z squared equals. It's going to be the other two sides squared, okay, minus 2 times the first side times the second side, and then times the let me back up. Second side is the y, and then times the cosine of the angle that's across from the side we're looking for. Okay, so I just converted my ABC format into an XYZ format, finding missing side Z. So again, I want to find this in one fell swoop. So I'm going to say my side Z is going to equal 11 squared plus 18 squared minus 2 times 11 times 18 times the cosine of 36. And I get little side z equals 11.2 doing that. Okay, so this is 11.2. Okay, I'm going to switch over to law of cosines, law of sines, and I want to find the smaller angle, which is angle x. So to find angle x, I'm going to say, now that I have this pairing, sine of 36 over the 11.2 I just found equals, I said I want to find angle x. So sine of x over 11, I know that's the smallest angle, and I'm always going to go for the smallest angle when switching over to law of sines. So 11, doing cross products, 11 times sine 36 equals 11.2 sine of x. Divide. Okay, knowing that I don't want sine x, I want x, I'm going to say that angle x is going to equal. Okay. Okay, so make sure that you are getting these values. Here's angle X. Okay, so now you can get angle Y by doing subtraction. So angle Y, I'm going to let you do the subtraction. You should be getting 109 degrees. Come back up here, and 109 degrees gives me angle Y. Okay, so now remember, we still have to do the area. So I don't have a lot of room left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say my third step is get the area. So I'm going to pick a sandwich. So I think I'm going to pick the 11, the 18, and the 36 degree angle. So 1/2 times 11 times 18 times, don't forget it's sine of 36. So in my calculator goes 0.5 times 11 times 18 times the sine of 36. And I'm getting 58.2. So my area this time is 58.2, and it would have been squared feet if my units were feet. Now, a word about this. Because I have some rounding going on, depending on which sandwich you pick, and again, I picked this sandwich, you might get slightly different answers. For example, on the answer key, I got an area of 57.8 because I just picked a different sandwich. But notice you're going to be very close. So I'm happy with that area, and we're going to move on to the next problem. Okay, so here I have 2 more of these. So looking at these, I'm going to do my triangle, see what they gave us. So again, draw out your triangle. So make sure that you're writing down all of your steps and you're not just relying on putting things in your calculator willy-nilly, because that's going to cause you big problems. Okay, across from A is 13. Here's very good practice for labeling your triangle. Across from B is 24, and across from C is 15. Okay, so this is side, side, side. I have to use law of cosines to solve. I tend to go for the biggest angle first, which is angle B. So using law of cosines, I'm going to say the cosine of angle B, I just writing it down, what I see from my formula. Okay, so that's my formula. Now, I'm going to put this in my calculator. Cosine -1 of, and A squared is 13 squared. C squared is 15 squared. Minus B squared is the 24 squared, the largest side, over 2 times 13 times 15. You should, by this point, be seeing patterns with these equations, so that if you have a triangle that's not ABC, you should be able to switch things around. Okay, I'm getting angle B equals 117.8 degrees. Okay, an impressive angle. So this is 117.8. Okay, so that's one value. I now have to get 2 other angle values. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to law of sines, and I'm going to use it to find the smallest angle, which is angle A. So take your angle that you just figured out, which is 117.8, over its partner, 24, equals sine of angle A, which is the smallest, over the smallest side, which is 13. Doing your cross products, and I'm not going to write it out this time, you should see that you're going to get an angle of 28.6. Maybe I will write this out because it's important that you understand how I'm doing this. So I did 13 times the sine of 117.8 equals sine A times 24, because a lot of you don't do this part correctly. Okay, so what's going to go in my calculator? I want to find angle A. So I'm going to take the inverse of the 13 times the sine of 117.8 over 24. Okay, this is what angle A will equal. So remember, you've got to use your inverse. So I got angle A equals, as I said, 28.6. Do your subtraction to get angle C. If this is 28.6 degrees, and that was degrees, 180 minus 28.6 minus 117.8 to get the missing angle, and I'm getting 33.6. So this is 33.6 degrees, and I'm done with that. So I will say angle C equals 33.6. Once again, they want the area as well. So let's pick an easy sandwich. I think I'm going to pick, let me get my gray. I'll pick this sandwich right here. So area is going to equal 1/2 side sine of 33.6. My calculator, 0.5 times 13 times 24 times the sine of 33.6. You should be doing this as well. And I'm getting 86.3. 86.3. Okay, so on my answer key, I picked a different different sandwich, and I got 86.2. Okay, so you're going to be close depending on what sandwich you pick. If I got something like 110, I know that I'm off. Okay, let's go on to the next problem. This one's done. Let me just draw a demarcation line. Okay, that's okay. All right, so let's get this next one drawn. Here's your triangle. Let me just do that so you can actually see it. Backtrack. Okay, I put it over here. Now, notice that my sides are not ABC. That's okay. Life will go on. We can handle that. F, and this is 7.1. Okay, so I have a situation where they gave me side. Side always requires me to use law of cosines to solve. Okay, I'm going to start out getting the largest angle, which is angle D, using law of cosines. So the cosine of D will equal, let me switch this formula around for you, E squared plus F squared minus little d squared over 2 times E times F. So you should see that pattern. Angle D will equal the cosine -1 of, now let's plug in. E is 5.7 squared. F is 7.1 squared minus D, which was 8 squared, over 2 times 5.7, see the pattern, 7.1. And putting that in my calculator, I will directly get an angle of 76.5 degrees. So this is 76.5 degrees. Okay, I'm going to switch over to law of sines, and I'm going to get the smallest angle, which is angle E. So use what you just discovered, and I want to get sine of angle E over 5.7. Okay, I'm going to not type it all in. It's just like what I did in the previous problem. Angle E will end up being 43.9 degrees, and angle F using subtraction from 180 of the two previous angles will end up being 59.6. Okay, so let's put these up here so we can see them all. Okay, so this is 59.6 and this was 43.9. Okay, we have to do one more thing, and that is area. So let's come up and let me get you an area answer. So what do we want to use for our little sandwich? So I'm going to use the top this time. I know I'm going to have some rounding because I can already see I have some tenths and some 0.9, 0.1. It's definitely going to be rounded, but that's okay. I want an approximate answer for the area. Area equals 1/2 7.1 times 8 times the sine of 43.9. So let me put that in my calculator. 0.5 times 7.1 times the 8 times the sine of the angle in between, it's called the included angle, and that's going to equal 19.7. And that's what matches my answer key. So I may have used the same triple, but I don't know. Okay, so that's your area. Okay, moving down, we've got two more problems on this page. So let's see what they have to offer. So here I have back to my ABCs. Here's A, B, and C. So angle B is 39. Angle C is 111. And angle side B is 89. Okay, so I've been given two angles. So angle, angle, side. That is a law of sines problem. It is not ambiguous. So I will only get one triangle. I have nothing to worry about. Get your angle A first by saying 180 minus 111 minus 39. Angle A becomes 30 degrees. Okay, now I have all my angles. So get your pairings. I have sine of 89 over 39 equals, and I think I did sine of 30 over little a. Doing cross products, I get 70.7 is the missing side right here. Okay, so that's right there. Okay, now word question at this point. Many of you on the previous test, when you got to this point, you then use Pythagorean theorem. You can't. You can only use that if you have a right angle. You have no option but to go ahead and use law of sines again. It's okay. It'll work out and you'll get the correct answer. Okay, so that's my little setup. Doing that, I got side C to be 132.0 when I rounded to the nearest tenth. So 132.0 done. Okay, the only thing left to do is find area. So, and let me just box off all the ones that I solved for. Solve for that, solve for that. Okay, so now do area. Area equals, I'm going to do maybe I'll do the left side for a sandwich. I'll do this. Okay, so that's going to be 1/2 132 times 89 times the sine of the angle in between. Am I doing this right? Yes, which is 30. Okay, so my calculator goes 0.5 times 132 times 89 times the sine of 30. Okay, that's going to give me, so hold on, let me just do that again. One sec. Okay, so when I did those numbers, I got my area I'll do in red, my area equaled 2937. Now I notice on my answer key that's not what I have, so I'm going to change my answer key because I've just done it all 3 ways, and this is the correct answer. Okay, so I have that for my area, and we are done. And again, I'm just going to get a little line to separate these problems. Okay, so now I'm going to do the next one. So this is JKL. So angle J is 39. Angle K is 34. These are degrees. And little side L is 19. Okay, so what have I been given? Angle, side, angle. Angle, side, angle is law of sines, and it's not ambiguous. So I'm going to get one angle, or one triangle, nothing else to worry about. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is find angle L by saying 180 minus 34 minus 39. Okay, 180 minus 34 minus 39, that gives me 107 degrees. Okay, 107 degrees is going right here. Okay, so now I'm ready to go ahead and do my missing angle. So let's get that going. So I'm going to go there, and I am going to look at the missing angle, missing sides. So I'm going to say the sine of 107 over 19, that's my pairing, equals the sine of 34 over little k, and I'm getting k is 16.9. Okay, so k is 16.9. I'm going to box that off. Okay, so then I'm going to say, okay, let's do the next one. Again, you cannot use Pythagorean theorem, which was a mistake on the previous exam. I have to do this sine equation again, but now I want to find j, so that's going to be sine of 39 over little side j, and doing that, I get little side j is 28.9. So let me fill that in. This is 28.9. I've solved for that. I solved for this and that. Okay, so now I need a sandwich. So I'm going to say that my area, I'm going to use the 28.9 times that's 16.9, right? Yep, times 16.9 times the sine of 107. Okay, let me put that in. So 0.5 times 289 times 16.9 times the sine of 107. Okay, so I'm going to check this, so hang on. Okay, so I found a problem with this last one we just did. So let me go back and we're going to fix some things. So when I did angle K, if you use the numbers I have here, when I did, side K, we should have gotten 11.1. So let's change that here to 11.1. Okay, so I'm going to change it here. So, because I checked my area 3 ways and they weren't close, so that was my tip-off, something was wrong. Okay, 11.1, let's do this correctly. Right, yep, so let me fix that, make that 11.1. Okay, so that's better. Then the other thing I found, when I did J, I shouldn't have gotten 28.9, so I'm not sure what numbers I hit here, but I shouldn't have gotten 28.9, I should have gotten 12.5. So make that 12.5. So come up here and make that 12.5. And I should have figured that out by virtue of the sides are opposite angles that are too small. So let me draw this down here again. And this was side angle side. And J, I just said is 12.5. Okay, so now, given that, that's going to change my area, clearly. So my area is going to be, if I use, let's just use, because maybe I'll use this right here. So 1/2 19 times 11.1 times the sine of 39. And I'm getting 66.4, and that's consistent. So that's much better. So make those changes if you would, and I will change my original answer key as well. Okay, so let me just make a note of that. Area is 66.4, and I have those other two values. Excellent. Okay, so I'm glad I'm doing this video because I found another mistake, which is always good. Okay, so next one, we now have a nice little word problem. A lot of times with word problems, you only have to solve for one thing. So on this delivery route, the Peapod truck drives 3.8 miles from Clarksville to Dayton. So that's the 3.8 miles. It then makes a delivery in Sunshine. Okay. Finally, the truck travels directly back to Clarksville from Sunshine, and that's 8.2. Use a diagram given to find the distance from Dayton to Sunshine. Okay, so look what they gave you. They gave you side, angle, side. That is a law of cosines problem. And since it's a law of cosines, what I'm going to do is I want to find little side C. So I'm going to set this up for you because you don't have the traditional ABC triangle. C squared is going to be S squared plus D squared minus 2SD times the cosine of C. Okay, once again, I don't want to put in the numbers and get a squared answer. I want my actual answer, which is little side C. So my S side is 3.8. 3.8 squared plus 8.2 squared minus 2 times 3.8 times 8.2 times the cosine of the given angle. And I'm getting C is going to be 4.6 miles. Okay, so this is 4.6, and it's in miles, so I report the units. Okay, now we go back to this kind of setup again. So let's get that going. So look at this first one. I'm going to draw this triangle, and they're telling me here, if a single triangle or more than one triangle exists, solve for all. That's my tip-off. Be on the lookout for ambiguous case. So this is an ABC triangle. So little a is 12, little c is 8, and big A is 100. Okay, so let's see what we get. So it's your law of sines, right? Because, how come? Because I have side, angle. Ooh, ambiguous case. Be on the lookout. 0 triangles, 1 triangle, 2 triangles. Okay, set it up using law of sines. Sine of 100 over 12 equals sine of angle C over 8. I am getting angle C equals 41. Okay, what's my other possibility for angle C? I'm going to say, could angle C also be 180 minus 41? So let's see. 180 minus 41 is 139. Okay, so could I use 139 plus the 100 they gave me? That is 239. No, I can't build a triangle like that. Now, how come I had to check the 139? I had to check it because 139 and 41 both have the same sine value. That's why I could potentially have 2 triangles, but I don't. So I don't in this case, so I can just continue solving for what I'm doing. So this was 41 right here for C. Boom. C is done. So now let's get the remaining side and the remaining angle. So to get angle B, I'm just going to say 180 minus 100 minus 41, and I get angle B equals 39 degrees. So this is 39 degrees. Okay, all that's left now is to get missing side B. So to get missing side B, I'm going to say that the sine of 39 over missing side B equals the sine of 100 over 12. And putting it in my calculator, I get B is 7.7. B is 7.7. I have only one triangle. Okay, let's try the next one. Okay, draw the triangle. Okay, so this is also an ABC triangle. ABC. B is 51, little b is 4, and little c is 6. I am given side angle. Be on the lookout. 0 triangles, 1 triangle, 2 triangles. Okay, I'm going to try to find angle C. So I have sine of 51 over 4 equals sine of missing angle C over 6. I'm going to write this out this time. Okay, divide by 4, divide by 4, and I'm going to say sine -1 of 6 times sine 51 over 4. So second sine -1, alpha y equals, Notre Dame, 6 sine 51 divided by 4. And I get a domain error. So I get a domain error. So why is that? Well, if I just go back and I put in my calculator, if I say, I'm going to quit that, and I just put 6 times the sine of 51 divided by 4, I get this to be 1.17. Now, what you don't know yet is that sine has to be less than 1. Okay, sine values have to be less than 1. Here it's 1.17. That's why I can't make that triangle. So this is no triangle. Okay, that domain error indicates that the measurements that you've been given do not build a triangle, and the reason being is sine has to be less than 1, and this was over that. Okay, now you don't need to know that piece of it, but I thought maybe you'd like to know where that domain error is coming from. Okay, we've got a couple of more to do. In fact, these are our last 2 problems. So let's look at them. And look in here. I think right away I'll put a line down here, separating these. Okay, so I'm doing the first one, 27, and I'm going to draw it out. And this is, again, ABC. A is 40, little a is 7, little b is 9. Okay, so looking at that, what have I been given? Side angle. Continue to be on the lookout for ambiguous case where you can have 0, 1, or 2, and we just had a situation with 0, and previously we had a situation with just 1. So let's see what this holds for us. So I'm going to try to find sine of b, and and thereby get angle B. So I'm going to say sine of 40 over 7 equals sine of B over 9. Do your cross product, set it up, and I'm getting angle B equals 55.7. Okay, so now the question is, could angle B be anything else? So 180 minus 55.7 is its supplementary angle. So angle B could have been 124.3 also. Does that work with the 40 degrees that I was given? And the answer is yes, it's going to work because I still have more wiggle room to build a triangle. So I get two triangles. So let's go ahead and draw the other triangle while we're at it. Okay, I'll do this one in red. So now what I have to figure out is how I'm going to set this up. Well, I'm going to use the exact same information they initially gave me, which was that little a is 7, little b is 9, and big A is 40. I just found that angle B could be 164.3. What can angle C be? Well, 180 minus 40 minus 164.3 gives me, wait, I wrote down the wrong answer. Okay, it's 124. Lost my head there. Okay, let me erase this. That angle was this. That is 124.3 degrees, and 180 minus 124.3 minus 40 gives me an angle of 15.7. It's small, but it still works. So I've solved for that angle and this angle. Okay, let's go back up to this first triangle. In the first triangle, I found angle B is 55.7. Okay, so what's my other angle? 180 minus 55.7 minus 40 gives me an angle of 84.3, much larger than in the second triangle. Okay, what's missing still? I need little side C over here. So to get that, I'm going to say sine of 40 over 7 equals sine of 84.3 over little side C, and I get little side C of 10.8. Okay, so that's that completed triangle. I have to come back down and complete the other triangle. What's missing? Well, little side C is missing here as well. So this time I'm going to say sine of 40 over 7 equals sine of that much smaller angle over little c, and this time I get a much smaller side to build this triangle. And we are done. Okay, so here you had ambiguous case, and because of the relative size of the two angles, I was able to build two different triangles with the same starting point. Okay, so I'm going to say two triangles be on that lookout. Okay, let's continue our work. Last problem. So draw this triangle for yourself. And again, I did A, B, C. And they initially told me that little a is 6, little b is 8, and angle A is 35. That gives me side angle, possible ambiguous case. I have to use law of sines to find the missing angles, and I have to check and see whether I can get two triangles, one triangle, or 0 triangles. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is find angle B. Sine of 35 over 6 equals sine of angle B over 8. and I am getting angle B equals 49.9 degrees. Now, question is, could angle B be something different? What is 180 minus 49.9? 180 minus 49.9 gives me 130.1. Can I use that angle given that I've already been given an angle of 35 degrees? And yes, I can, because look, it's still small enough to get a third angle. So I have a second triangle. So let's go ahead and start building that one simultaneously. So let's fill it in with the information they initially gave us. ABC, little side A is 6, little side B is 8. The angle A was 35. I just found that this angle could be 130.1 because 130.1 and 49.9 have the same sine value. Because I've been given side-side angle, I need to check for two possible triangles. Okay, so continuing with the first triangle, I'm going to get angle C by saying 180 minus 49.9 minus 35, and I get 95.1. So this is 95.1, another angle solved for. I now need little side C. So to get little side C, I'm going to do sine of 35 over 6 equals sine of the angle, 95.1 we got by subtraction, over little c, and I'm getting little c is 10.4. Okay, so this is 10.4, first triangle solved. But remember, I have two triangles, so here comes the next one. Get your missing angle C by doing subtraction. So angle C is going to be 180 minus 130.1 minus 35. And I get angle C to be a pretty small angle, which is 14.9 degrees, but still big enough to build the triangle. Okay, now go ahead. I'm going to do this over here and get missing side C by saying sine of 35 over 6 equals sine of 14.9 over C, and I get a much smaller side for C of 2.7. Done. I have built successfully two triangles given the information I started out with. How did that happen? It happened because I was given side-side angle. That tells me use law of sines, but watch out, ambiguous case. Okay, what does that mean? I could have 0, 1, or 2 triangles possible. So these last 4 problems were the only ones that dealt with the ambiguous case because I was given side-side angle. Okay, only those 4 gave me side-side angle, so only in those 4 do I have to investigate the supplement to the first angle that I found using law of sines. Okay, I hope that helped. You probably want to go back over this another time, but thank you for listening.